Mark Henderson's knees ached. 12 years of concrete floors. 12 years of 12-hour shifts. He was 53 and thinking about retirement more often than he'd admit to anyone. But Rex was just hitting his prime. The Belgian Malinois trotted beside him through Terminal C, nose working the air. Most passengers didn't notice them anymore. Just another cop and his dog. 6:47 a.m. Early enough that the morning rush hadn't hit yet. Then Rex stopped, not gradually. An immediate rigid freeze. Mark's hand went to his radio. Rex. The dog's head swiveled left. His ears came forward. His tail dropped. His breathing changed shallow, rapid-focused. What have you got, boy? Rex didn't move. His entire being had locked onto something near the Delta check-in counter. Mark followed his gaze.
It's okay, Mom.
A pregnant woman was walking toward them. Very pregnant, maybe 8 months. Loose floral dress, 2 paper shopping bags, moving slowly with one hand on her lower back. She looked exhausted. She looked ordinary, but Rex was trembling. Easy, Mark said quietly. The woman was getting closer. 30 feet away. She hadn't noticed them yet. 20 feet. Rex's whine turned into a growl. Rex, heel! The dog lunged forward so hard the leash nearly tore from Mark's grip, and then he was barking not the controlled alert bark they'd practiced 10,000 times, but something raw and desperate. The woman froze. Her bags dropped. Bottles of water spilled across the floor. Baby clothes scattered, tiny socks, a yellow onesie. Make him stop! Her voice cracked. Please make him stop! Passengers backed away. An elderly couple grabbed their grandson and pulled him behind a pillar. A businessman held up his phone, already recording. Rex down. But Rex wasn't listening. He was beyond training now, barking so hard his front paws lifted off the ground with each burst. The woman pressed both hands to her belly, tears streaming. I'm pregnant. I'm just pregnant. Why is he? Sir, control your dog. A TSA supervisor jogged toward them, radio in hand. Mark wasn't watching the supervisor. He was watching the woman's hands, how they shook, how her fingers kept spreading and pressing against her dress like she was checking for something. He was watching how her eyes kept darting to the exit signs. And he was watching Rex, who was trying to drag him toward her, nails scraping the floor. Ma'am, stay where you are. I haven't done anything wrong. Her voice climbed higher. I'm going to visit my sister in Denver. That's all. 2 more TSA officers arrived, flanking Mark. Ma'am, we need to run a secondary screening, Johnson said. Just routine. Routine. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Your dog is acting like I'm a terrorist. Rex's barking had subsided into a constant anxious whine, but he hadn't taken his eyes off her belly. Not her face, not her hands, her belly. What's in the bags? Mark asked quietly. What? The shopping bags. What's in them? Baby things. Just clothes and bottles and... She gestured helplessly. You can see them right there. She was right. Mark could see them. Nothing suspicious. But Rex was still whining, still straining against the leash. Ma'am, I'm Officer Henderson. This is Rex. He's a detection dog. And right now, he's indicating that something's wrong. I need you to come with us. I'll miss my flight. We'll work with the airline. For a moment, he thought she might run. Her whole body tensed, her weight shifting forward. But then her shoulders sagged. Okay. The secondary screening room was windowless. White walls, fluorescent lights, a metal table bolted to the floor. The woman sat in the plastic chair, hands still cradling her belly. She'd given her name, Sarah Mitchell, 29, St. Louis resident traveling to Denver to stay with her sister before the baby came. Driver's license checked out. No warrants, no criminal record. Nothing to explain why Rex was now sitting outside the door, whining like someone was dying. Ms. Mitchell, I need you to be honest with me. I am being honest. Her voice was steadier now, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. I don't understand what's happening. How far along are you? 34 weeks. Due date, October 2nd. Who's your doctor? She hesitated, just for a second. Dr. Chen, at Mercy Hospital. You have his number. Her number. And yes, it's in my phone. When was your last checkup? Another hesitation. Tuesday. Everything normal? Yes. Why are you? Ms. Mitchell. I've worked with 4 different canine partners in 12 years. I have never seen a dog react the way Rex reacted to you. Mark leaned forward. So help me understand what he was sensing. I don't know. Tears spilled over. I swear to God I don't know. Maybe it's my hormones, or maybe I stepped in something. A knock interrupted her. Johnson poked his head in. Henderson, outside. Mark stepped out. Rex immediately pressed against his legs, still trembling. What have you got? Johnson held up an evidence bag. Inside was a small metallic patch roughly the size of a postage stamp. Found this tucked inside one of the baby onesies, hidden in the fold. Mark took the bag. The patch had a faint chemical smell even through the plastic, something sharp that made his sinuses burn. Drug patch. That's what I'm thinking, but look at the backing. Johnson pointed. Serial number, pharmaceutical marking. Rex was growling again. This is what he was alerting to, Mark said. Yeah, but... Johnson lowered his voice. If this is drugs, it's not enough to smuggle. One patch. Why go through all this effort for something so small? That was the question. Mark looked through the window. Sarah Mitchell was crying openly now, her whole body shaking. Call Mercy Hospital, verify her doctor story, and get me a female officer for physical screening. You think she's carrying... I think Rex thinks she's carrying something. That's good enough. They were waiting for the hospital callback when Sarah Mitchell collapsed. 1 second she was sitting in the chair. The next she was doubled over, gasping, clutching her stomach. Help me! The words came out strangled. Something's wrong, the baby! Rodriguez lunged forward, catching her before she hit the floor. Medical, we need medical. Mark was already on his radio, his pulse hammered in his ears. Sarah screamed. Not a cry, a scream raw and primal. Outside the door, Rex went ballistic. His barking turned into howls, and Mark could hear him throwing himself against the door. She's burning up, Rodriguez said. Jesus Christ, she's burning up. Sarah's eyes rolled back. Her body went rigid, back arching, and then she went limp. Where are those EMTs? They arrived 90 seconds later. By the time they loaded Sarah onto the stretcher, Mark had made a decision. I'm riding with her. You're not family. My dog detected something on her, something dangerous, and I think it's killing her right now. Mark didn't wait for permission. He climbed into the ambulance. Rex jumped in beside him. The doors slammed. The siren started wailing. As the ambulance rocketed toward St. Luke's Hospital, Mark watched the paramedics work. They cut open Sarah's dress. They attached monitors, started an IV, called ahead to the ER. And Mark saw something that made his blood turn to ice. Sarah Mitchell's pregnant belly was wrong. He couldn't explain how he knew. The way the skin pulled too tight in some places and too loose in others. The absence of stretch marks. The strange uniformity of the swelling. But he knew. She's not pregnant, Mark said quietly. The paramedic looked up. What? Feel her belly. Actually feel it. The paramedic hesitated, then pressed his hand against Sarah's abdomen. His expression changed. That's not... He pressed again harder. That's not flesh. Silicone, Mark finished. The ambulance seemed to hold its breath. Then Rex barked once, sharp, urgent, and the paramedic's fingers found something. There's a seam, he whispered. Oh my God, there's a seam. Oh. They didn't wait for the hospital. The lead paramedic radioed ahead, panic barely masked in his professional tone. The driver pushed faster, weaving through traffic. "What the hell is inside her?" Rodriguez's voice came through Mark's radio. "I don't know yet, but whatever it is, it's leaking." "She's going to die, isn't she?" Mark looked at Sarah's unconscious face, at the sweat beading on her forehead, at the way her lips had started to turn blue. "Not if we can help it." St. Luke's was ready. The ER team swarmed the ambulance the second the doors opened. A young female doctor fired questions at the paramedics as they ran. "Unknown substance exposure. Possible internal contamination. Patient collapsed 12 minutes ago." Mark tried to follow, but a nurse blocked his path. "Sir, you need to wait." "I'm the one who called this in." "Sir?" The nurse's voice was kind but firm. "Let them work." So he waited. Rex sat beside him, pressed against his leg, still trembling. Other patients stared, but Mark barely noticed. His mind was racing. Drug smuggling, obviously. But why the fake pregnancy? Because pregnant women don't get stopped, he realized. They get sympathy. Benefit of the doubt. Whoever had sent Sarah Mitchell through that airport knew exactly what they were doing. His phone buzzed. Johnson. "Henderson, we verified her story. There is no Dr. Chen at Mercy Hospital, no obstetrics department either. Mercy's a cardiac specialty center." Mark closed his eyes. Everything she told us was a lie. "Looks that way." TSA ran the security footage. Sarah Mitchell arrived with a man. He dropped her at the curb. We got a clear shot of his face, running it through facial recognition now. "What about her bags?" "Nothing. Baby clothes, diapers, snacks. All legitimate. The patch was the only anomaly." But Rex was alerting to her, not the bags. "Yeah, which means whatever she's carrying is inside the prosthetic." A pause. "Jesus." 23 minutes passed. The doctor emerged from the trauma bay. Her scrubs were splattered with something dark. "Officer Henderson." Mark stood. "How is she?" "Alive." "Barely." The doctor gestured toward an empty consultation room. "We need to talk." Once the door closed, she didn't waste time. "You were right. She wasn't pregnant. What she's wearing is a sophisticated prosthetic device designed to mimic pregnancy. Silicone exterior, mechanical components inside to simulate fetal movement and heartbeat. To fool medical professionals," Mark said. "To fool everyone. This thing is state-of-the-art. If you hadn't told us to look for it, we wouldn't have caught it." "What's inside it?" The doctor's jaw tightened. "Liquid narcotics, primarily fentanyl mixed with several other compounds, sealed in biocompatible capsules designed to pass through customs X-rays." Mark felt his stomach drop. "How much?" "Street value $3 million, maybe more. $3 million strapped to a woman's body, disguised as an unborn child." "One of the capsules ruptured," the doctor continued. "Leaked directly into her bloodstream through skin contact. Acute fentanyl poisoning. If you hadn't gotten her here when you did, she'd be dead." Rex had saved her life, not by attacking her, by refusing to let them ignore the danger she was in. "Can I talk to her?" "She's sedated, but when she wakes up, she's all yours." Made. Sarah Mitchell woke up 4 hours later. Mark was still there. Rex stretched out on the floor beside him, finally calm. Mark watched Sarah's eyes flutter open, watched confusion cross her face. Then memory returned, and with it terror. "Am I?" Her voice was a rasp. "Am I under arrest?" "That depends on whether you want to tell me the truth." Tears welled up immediately. "I couldn't, they said, if I didn't start at the beginning." So she did. Her name really was Sarah Mitchell, St. Louis. But she wasn't visiting a sister. She didn't have a sister. What she had was a son. "Tommy. He's 7. Sarah's voice broke. "He has asthma. Needs an inhaler, nebulizer treatments, emergency room visits when it gets bad. My insurance doesn't cover it all. I was drowning in medical debt." "So you agreed to smuggle drugs?" "One trip. That's what they told me. One trip, $50,000, all my debt erased." She laughed bitterly. I believed them. Who's they? I don't know his real name. Everyone calls him Hale. He runs a courier service legitimate on the surface. But underneath, she trailed off. He moves drugs, Mark finished. People too. Women mostly. He finds us on social media, in debt support groups, anywhere desperate people gather. He's very good at identifying targets. Sarah's hands twisted the blanket. He told me the prosthetic was foolproof. Told me dogs couldn't detect through the silicone. Told me I'd walk through security and nobody would look twice. He was wrong. Your dog... Sarah looked at Rex. Fresh tears spilled over. He wasn't trying to attack me. He was trying to save me. Mark didn't answer. Where's Tommy now? He asked instead. With my neighbor. She thinks I'm at a job interview. Sarah's face crumpled. Oh God, what's going to happen to him if I go to prison? That's not my department, but the DEA is going to want everything you know about Hale. Names, locations, how the operation works. If you cooperate, it'll go better for you. He'll kill me. We'll protect you. You can't promise that. She was right. He couldn't. His phone rang. Johnson again. Henderson, we got him. The guy who dropped Sarah off. Victor Hale, registered owner of Swift Courier Services. And you're not going to believe this, we have 2 more women scheduled on flights out of Lambert today. Same paperwork, traveling alone, both pregnant. Mark finished. How'd you know? Because it's a network. Sarah Mitchell was just one piece. He looked at Sarah, who was watching him with desperate eyes. How many others? Mark asked her. How many women has Hale recruited? I don't know, we weren't allowed to meet. But... She hesitated. When he fitted me with the prosthetic, there were 3 other women in the waiting room. 3 that I saw. Mark's hand tightened on the phone. Johnson shut down every departure gate. Screen every pregnant woman trying to board a flight out of Lambert in the next 6 hours. That's going to cause chaos. Better chaos than letting $3 million worth of fentanyl hit the streets. Or letting 3 more women die. The operation took 17 hours. They found the 2nd woman at Gate B7, boarding a flight to Dallas. She panicked when TSA pulled her aside, tried to run, made it maybe 10 feet before her legs gave out and she collapsed convulsing on the terminal floor. The capsule inside her prosthetic had ruptured from the stress. EMTs got to her faster this time. Barely. The 3rd woman never made it to the airport. When she heard about the increased security, she called Hale in a panic, and police traced the call to a warehouse district in North St. Louis. They found her there locked in a storage room, still wearing the prosthetic, terrified but unharmed. They found 5 other women in that warehouse, all wearing prosthetics, all terrified, all with children at home and debts they couldn't pay. They found Hale too. He was in the back office, surrounded by computers and ledgers trying to purge the servers, when SWAT broke down the door. Mark wasn't there for the arrest. He was still at St. Luke's, sitting beside Sarah's bed while she slept. You did good, boy, Mark murmured, scratching behind Rex's ears. Rex's tail thumped once. The news broke that evening. Hero K9 exposes drug smuggling network, ran on every local station, then national, then international. Mark's phone didn't stop ringing. Reporters, officials, a producer from some morning talk show wanting to interview Rex. He ignored all of it. Sarah woke again near midnight. You don't have to stay, she whispered. I know. Why are you... Mark considered the question. My wife died 3 years ago. Cancer. We had good insurance, but it still bankrupted us. Experimental treatments. Specialists' drugs that weren't covered. By the end, I was $200,000 in debt, and she was gone anyway. Sarah stared at him. I'm not saying I understand what you did. I'm not saying it was right. Mark leaned forward. But I understand why you did it, and that matters. Will they let me see Tommy? Her voice was so small. Before whatever happens, I'll make sure of it. Promise? Promise. Rex stirred, then stood and padded over to Sarah's bedside. He rested his chin on the edge of the mattress, looking up at her. Slowly, carefully, Sarah reached out and touched the top of his head. "Thank you," she whispered. Rex's tail wagged gently, once, twice. Then he returned to Mark's side. "The DEA is coming tomorrow," Mark said. "They're going to want to talk to you. I know. Tell them everything, every detail. It's your only chance." "Will it be enough? I don't know, but it's something." The dawn came. Mark watched it through the hospital window Rex pressed against his leg. His phone buzzed. A text from Johnson Hales singing. "Gave up his supplier's distribution network, everything. Biggest trafficking bust in Midwest history. You and Rex are getting commendations." Mark read it twice, then set the phone aside without responding. "Come on, boy," he said quietly. "Let's go home." But before they left, he stopped by Sarah's room one more time. She was awake, staring at the ceiling. Tommy asleep in the chair beside her bed. "Officer Henderson," she said softly. "Just wanted to check on you. They're moving me to a secure facility tomorrow. DEA protection." She looked at Tommy. "They're letting him stay with my neighbor until the trial. After that—" She didn't finish. "One day at a time," Mark offered. "Will I see you again?" "Maybe. If they need me to testify." "I hope your dog knows how special he is." Mark looked down at Rex. "Yeah, I think he knows." They walked out into the morning light. Mark's truck waited in the far corner. He'd been parked there for over 20 hours. His phone buzzed again. Another reporter. He turned it off. "You know what, Rex?" Mark opened the passenger door. The dog jumped in. "I think I'm done with all this. The badges, the commendations, the news cameras. I just want to go home and sleep for 3 days." Rex barked once softly. They drove in silence through quiet streets. Nobody in those neighborhoods knew what had happened at the airport yesterday. Nobody knew how close they'd come to having $3 million worth of poison flooding their streets. And that was fine. Because the real victory wasn't in the arrest, or the seizure, or the headlines. The real victory was in the 8 women who were alive today. The real victory was in Tommy waking up in that hospital room with his mother still breathing beside him. The real victory was in Rex, who'd done exactly what he was supposed to do. Mark pulled into his driveway, killed the engine. "We made a difference today, didn't we?" Rex's tail thumped. "Yeah, we did." But even as he said it, one thought kept circling. How many more Sarah Mitchells were out there? How many more desperate women had Victor Hale recruited? How many more were boarding planes right now wearing prosthetics filled with poison? How many more bombs were walking through airports disguised as miracles? The call came 3 days later. Mark was halfway through his first real day off in a week. "Henderson, it's Johnson. We've got a situation." Mark closed his eyes. He'd known this was coming. "What kind of situation?" TSA flagged a pregnant woman at O'Hare. Chicago PD brought in their K9 unit, but the dog's not alerting the same way Rex did. They think she's clean, but... Johnson hesitated. "The woman matches the profile. Single mother medical debt, bought a last-minute ticket with cash. Flying to Miami, same destination one of Hale's women was supposed to hit." Mark looked at Rex, who was sprawled on the couch. The dog raised his head, sensing something had changed. "They want us to come take a look," Mark asked, already knowing the answer. "DEA's sending a plane. Can you be at Lambert in an hour?" Mark should have said no. Should have told them to find another handler. But he thought about Sarah Mitchell. About how Rex had been the only one to see the danger. He thought about Tommy, and about all the other Tommies who might lose their mothers today. "We'll be there," Mark said. Rex was already at the door, tail wagging. Because that's what they did. That's who they were. A man and his dog. Guardians who saw what others missed. And somewhere in Chicago, Another woman was walking through an airport with a bomb strapped to her belly, praying nobody would notice. But Rex would notice. He always did. The DEA plane touched down at Lambert 42 minutes later. Mark climbed aboard with Rex, no luggage, no preparation. Just him and his dog, and the weight of knowing they were about to do this all over again. Special Agent Carmen Rodriguez, no relation to the TSA officer from 3 days ago, met them at the top of the stairs. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, the kind of woman who'd seen enough horror that nothing surprised her anymore. "Henderson, thanks for coming on short notice. What have we got?" Woman's name is Lisa Park. 31, single mother, works 2 jobs in Evanston. Bought a one-way ticket to Miami this morning with cash. No checked bags, just a carry-on and a purse. And she's pregnant. 7 months, according to what she told TSA. Mark followed Rodriguez down the aisle. Rex trotted beside him, ears alert. "Your K9 unit cleared her." "That's the problem. Our dog alerted, but not like you described. Just a standard sit and stare. Could be residue, could be nothing. But given what happened in St. Louis..." Rodriguez trailed off. "You're not taking chances." "Would you?" No, he wouldn't. The plane took off 12 minutes later. Mark sat in silence, watching clouds rush past the window. Rex sat at his feet, unusually still. The dog knew they were working. He always knew. Mark's phone buzzed. A text from Johnson Sarah Mitchell just gave DEA 3 more names. Women who backed out of Hale's operation at the last minute. All still alive. All willing to testify. "You saved more than 8 lives, Henderson. You saved dozens." Mark didn't respond. He turned his phone to airplane mode and closed his eyes. But he couldn't sleep. His mind kept replaying those 17 hours, Sarah's scream, Rex's desperate barking, the moment they'd discovered the truth. How many more times would they have to do this? "You okay?" Rodriguez asked quietly. Mark opened his eyes. "Just tired. I read the report. What you and your dog did was incredible. Rex did it. I just held the leash. Don't sell yourself short." Rodriguez leaned forward. "Hale's network stretched across 11 states. 37 confirmed recruits, probably more we haven't found yet. You shut down the entire operation in less than a day." Sarah Mitchell shut it down. She talked. "Because you made her feel safe enough to talk." Mark looked down at Rex. The dog's eyes were closed, but his ears kept twitching, tracking every sound in the cabin. "How's she doing?" Rodriguez asked. "Sarah." "She saw her son. DEA granted supervised visitation before they moved her to the safe house." Mark's throat tightened. "Kid didn't understand why his mom couldn't come home. Kept asking when she'd be back." "What did she tell him?" "That she'd made a mistake and had to fix it. That she loved him. That she'd see him again soon." Mark paused. "She was lying about that last part. Even with witness protection, even with full cooperation, she's looking at minimum 5 years." Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. "Tommy. That's the kid's name, right?" "Yeah. He's lucky his mom's alive to serve that time." She was right. Mark knew she was right. But it didn't make Tommy's tears any easier to forget. The plane began its descent 30 minutes later. O'Hare International Airport was chaos. Not just the normal chaos of one of the world's busiest airports, but the specific chaos of a terminal on lockdown. TSA had cordoned off gate K14 passenger traffic, rerouted flights delayed. Security personnel everywhere. And in the middle of it all, sitting in a plastic chair with her hands folded over her belly, was Lisa Park. She looked terrified. Mark approached slowly, Rex at his side. The dog's nose was already working, sampling the air, but his body language was neutral. No alert. No tension. That should have been reassuring. It wasn't. "Ms. Park, I'm Officer Henderson. This is Rex." Lisa's eyes widened. Is he going to?" "He's just going to sniff around you. That's all. You don't need to be afraid." But she was afraid. Mark could see it in the way her hands trembled, in the way she kept pressing them against her belly. Rex moved closer, circled Lisa once, twice. His tail was neutral, his ears forward but relaxed. No alert. Mark's stomach sank. See? Lisa's voice was shaky but relieved. I told them, I'm just pregnant. That's all. Rodriguez stepped forward. Ms. Park, we need to ask you some questions. It's procedure. I already answered questions, for an hour. I showed them my ultrasound photos. I gave them my doctor's number. What else do you want? Just a few more minutes of your time. But Rex still wasn't alerting. He'd sat down beside Mark, looking up at him with an expression that seemed to say nothing here. Mark's instincts were screaming otherwise. Ms. Park, where are you flying to? Miami. To see my sister. She just had a baby, and I wanted to meet my nephew before my own baby comes. And you bought the ticket this morning? Yesterday. With cash. I know how that looks, but I don't have a credit card. Her voice caught. I'm not good with money. I use cash for everything. What's your sister's name? Rebecca. Rebecca Park. Address in Miami. Lisa rattled off an address without hesitation. No pause, no uncertainty. Rodriguez was already texting someone, presumably to verify the information. Mark crouched down beside Rex. What do you think, boy? The dog tilted his head, then stood and walked back to Lisa. Sniffed her shoes. Her bags circled her one more time. Still nothing. She's clean, Rodriguez murmured. Henderson, I think she's clean. But Mark couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The profile was too perfect. Single mother financial stress one-way ticket bought with cash flying to a major drug hub. Just like Sarah Mitchell. Ms. Park, have you ever heard the name Victor Hale? Lisa blinked. No. Should I have? What about Swift Courier Services? I don't know. I don't know what that is. She seemed genuinely confused. Her body language was open, non-defensive. She wasn't hiding anything. Or she was an incredibly good liar. Rodriguez's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, then nodded. Sister checks out. Rebecca Park registered nurse lives at the address Lisa gave. Hospital confirms she just had a baby 3 weeks ago. Mark straightened. Can I see your ultrasound photos? They're on my phone. TSA already looked at them. I'd like to see them anyway. Lisa unlocked her phone with shaking hands and pulled up a photo album. Ultrasound images dated and time-stamped. A blob that vaguely resembled a baby technical measurements in the margins. They looked real. But so had Sarah Mitchell's story, until it wasn't. Ms. Park, would you consent to a medical examination? What? Lisa's voice climbed. Why your dog didn't even alert. You said he was trained to detect whatever you're looking for. He didn't find anything. I know, but I'd feel better if... No. Lisa stood abruptly. Her hand went protectively to her belly. No. I've been cooperative. I've answered every question. I've missed my flight. I'm not letting you examine me like I'm some kind of criminal when I haven't done anything wrong. She was right. They had no probable cause. Rex hadn't alerted. The background check came back clean. The ultrasound photos looked legitimate. They had nothing. Ms. Park, I apologize for the inconvenience, Rodriguez said smoothly. You're free to go. We'll work with the airline to get you on the next available flight. Lisa grabbed her bags. Thank you. God, thank you. She hurried toward the gate, moving as fast as her pregnant belly would allow. Mark watched her go, every instinct screaming that they were making a mistake. Let her go, Rodriguez said quietly. We don't have grounds to hold her. What if we're wrong? Then we're wrong. But we can't detain every pregnant woman who fits a profile. That's not how this works. Mark knew she was right. But knowing didn't make it easier to watch Lisa Park disappear into the crowd. Rex whined softly. "You feel it too, don't you?" Mark murmured. The dog's tail was down his ears back. He looked uncertain, conflicted, and that scared Mark more than anything. They were walking back toward the terminal exit when Mark's phone rang. Johnson, again. "Henderson, where are you?" "O'Hare, we just cleared a pregnant woman. Turned out to be..." "Forget her. We've got a bigger problem. Hale's lawyer just posted bail." Mark stopped walking. "What?" "Judge granted bail an hour ago. $3 million. Some anonymous benefactor posted it in cash." "That's not possible. Hale's a flight risk." Prosecutor argued that. Judge didn't care. Said the evidence was strong enough that Hale wouldn't run. Johnson paused. He was wrong. Hale's gone. Ankle monitor was disabled 40 minutes ago. By the time U.S. Marshals got to his house, he was gone. He's in the wind. Mark's hand tightened on the phone. "He's going to run the operation remotely. He's going to..." "We know. DEA's already scrambling. But Henderson, there's something else. Something you need to hear." "What?" "We pulled Hale's phone records. He made 3 calls in the last 24 hours. All to the same Chicago number. All to..." Mark's blood turned to ice. "O'Hare?" "Yeah." "Lisa Park." "We're running the number now, but..." Mark was already running. Rex bolted ahead of him, sensing the urgency. Rodriguez shouted something behind them, but Mark didn't stop. Lisa Park was at gate K14, boarding pass in hand, walking toward the jet bridge. "Stop!" Mark's voice echoed through the terminal. "TSA! Stop that woman!" Lisa heard him. She froze for just a second, long enough for Mark to see the recognition in her eyes, the calculation. Then she ran. Not toward the exit. Toward the secure area deeper into the terminal where she thought she'd be safe. But she was pregnant, or pretending to be, and Mark was a 53-year-old cop with bad knees. Neither of them was fast. Rex was fast. The dog hit full speed in 3 strides, closing the distance in seconds. He didn't bite, didn't attack, just cut Lisa off, forcing her to stop or trip over him. She stopped. Hands up, breathing hard, tears streaming down her face. "Please," she gasped. "Please, I don't." Then she collapsed. Just like Sarah Mitchell had collapsed. Just like the woman at gate B7 had collapsed. And Mark knew with horrible certainty that they were already too late. The EMTs arrived in under 2 minutes. They cut Lisa's dress open, attached monitors, started an IV. And there it was, the same prosthetic belly, the same silicone texture, the same mechanical heartbeat, simulating life where there was none. "Get it off her," Mark commanded. "Get it off now." "Sir, we need to..." "She's being poisoned from the inside. You need to remove the device now." The lead paramedic looked at Rodriguez. She nodded. They worked fast, cutting through the elastic straps, peeling away the prosthetic. Lisa was barely conscious, her lips already turning blue. "There," one of the paramedics said, pointing. "Capsule rupture. Same as the St. Louis case." Mark crouched beside Lisa. Rex pressed against his leg, whining. "Lisa! Lisa, look at me!" Her eyes struggled to focus. "Who gave you the prosthetic? Was it Hale?" "I don't..." She coughed and blood flecked her lips. "I don't know who Hale is." "Who fitted you with this device? Who told you to get on that plane?" "A man. He said $50,000. He said my daughter..." Her voice broke. "My daughter needs surgery, heart surgery. I don't have insurance. I couldn't..." She was Sarah Mitchell all over again. A desperate mother. A child who needed medical care. A predator who knew exactly how to exploit that desperation. "What's your daughter's name?" Mark asked gently. "Grace. She's 4. She has a hole in her heart. The doctors say..." Lisa's eyes rolled back. "Stay with me, Lisa. Stay with me." But she was slipping away. The paramedics were shouting medical jargon, moving faster, but Mark could see it in their faces. They were losing her. "Grace needs you," Mark said urgently. "Your daughter needs you. You have to fight Lisa. You have to." Lisa's hand shot out, gripping Mark's wrist with surprising strength. "Tell her," she whispered. "Tell Grace I tried. Tell her I love." Her hand went limp. The monitor flatlined. "No." The word came out as a whisper. "No, no, no." The paramedics worked on her. Chest compressions, medications, electric shocks. 1 minute. 2. 5. But Lisa Park was gone. Mark stood slowly, his legs barely supporting him. Rex pressed against him, whining softly. Rodriguez touched his shoulder. "Henderson." "She had a daughter, 4 years old, heart condition." "I know." Hale knew too. He knew exactly what buttons to push. "We'll find him." "Will we?" Mark turned to face her. "He's got $3 million in cash, a network of contacts across 11 states, and he's already proven he can manipulate the legal system. How exactly are we going to find him?" Rodriguez didn't have an answer. Mark looked down at Lisa's body. At the prosthetic belly lying beside her, cracked open like a broken promise. "How many more?" he asked quietly. "How many more women did he recruit before we shut him down?" "We don't know yet. Sarah Mitchell gave us some names, but not all of them. Not even close." Rodriguez's phone rang. She answered, listened, then closed her eyes. "God." "What?" "TSA just flagged another pregnant woman. Denver International Airport. Behavior pattern matches exactly." Mark felt something inside him go cold. "Is she still in secondary screening?" "But Henderson, she's not cooperating. Demanding a lawyer, refusing medical examination." "Get me on a plane, now." "You need rest. You haven't slept in." "Get me on a plane." Rodriguez looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. "I'll make the call." They left Lisa Park's body in the hands of the Cook County medical examiner and drove straight to the tarmac. A different DEA plane waited, engines already running. Mark climbed aboard with Rex, his hands still shaking from what he'd just witnessed. A woman had died, right in front of him, begging him to pass a message to her 4-year-old daughter. And he couldn't save her. Rodriguez boarded behind him, already on her phone, coordinating with Denver field office. ETA 90 minutes. They're holding the woman in a secure room, but her lawyer's en route. If we don't find something concrete before he arrives, we'll have to release her. What's her name? Michelle Torres. 26. 2 kids, 6 and 3. Husband deployed overseas with the Army. Works as a waitress in Colorado Springs. Another desperate mother. Another child in need. Another woman that Hale had identified as vulnerable. Has anyone contacted her husband? He's unreachable, on a mission somewhere in the Middle East. Won't be back for another 3 months. Mark closed his eyes. So she's alone. Yeah. The plane took off. Mark sat in silence, Rex's head resting on his knee. The dog could sense his distress, could sense that something had gone terribly wrong. "I should have caught it," Mark said quietly. "Lisa Park, I should have known." "Your dog didn't alert. You had no probable cause." Rex hesitated. "Did you see that?" He circled her twice, and both times he hesitated. "I should have trusted that hesitation. You can't second-guess yourself like this. A woman is dead because I let her walk away." Rodriguez leaned forward. "A woman is dead because Victor Hale poisoned her. Not because of you, not because of Rex, because of him." Mark knew she was right. Logically, he knew. But logic didn't stop the image of Lisa's hand going limp in his, or the sound of the monitor flatlining, or the knowledge that somewhere in Chicago, a 4-year-old girl named Grace was about to learn that her mother was never coming home. His phone buzzed. A text from Johnson. Found something in Hale's office. Blueprint for the prosthetic devices. There are serial numbers. If we can match them to the women, we can identify everyone in the network. Mark typed back, "How many serial numbers?" The response came 10 seconds later. 43. 43 women. They'd saved 8 in St. Louis. 1 had died in Chicago. That left 34 still out there walking around with bombs strapped to their bodies, thinking they were about to solve all their problems. Thinking they'd found a way to save their children. Rodriguez, Mark said slowly. What if this isn't about drugs? She looked up. What? The fentanyl, the network, the smuggling. What if that's not the point? Then what is? Mark thought about Sarah Mitchell, about Lisa Park, about Michelle Torres waiting in Denver. Thought about their stories, their children, their desperation. Control, he said. Hale's controlling these women. He finds the most vulnerable people he can. People who'll do anything to save their kids, and he turns them into weapons. But it's not about the drugs. It's about proving he can do it. That's insane. Is it? He recruited 43 women, strapped them with devices worth millions, sent them through airports with minimal security protocols because who's going to stop a pregnant woman? Mark leaned forward. He's not a drug dealer. He's a terrorist, and we just made him famous. Rodriguez stared at him. You think he's escalating? I think we shut down his operation, embarrassed him on national television, and now he's going to prove that we can't stop him. Michelle Torres. And whoever else he can activate before we find him. The plane couldn't fly fast enough. Denver International Airport was on full alert when they landed. TSA had locked down 3 terminals. Bomb squad was on standby. Local PD, FBI, DEA, everyone was there waiting. Michelle Torres sat in a secondary screening room, her lawyer beside her. The lawyer stood as soon as Mark and Rodriguez entered. My client has been detained for over 2 hours without charges. Either arrest her or release her. Now. Sir, we just need to... My client is 7 months pregnant and has been denied food and water. This is harassment. This is... Your client is carrying a prosthetic device filled with narcotics, Rodriguez said flatly. We have evidence linking her to Victor Hale's smuggling network. We have... You have nothing. No probable cause, no evidence, nothing but a profile that could describe thousands of pregnant women in this country. The lawyer's voice was sharp, confident. My client agreed to screening. Your dog didn't alert. You have no grounds to hold her. Mark looked at Michelle Torres. She sat perfectly still, hands folded over her belly, face carefully neutral. But her eyes told a different story. She was terrified. Ms. Torres, Mark said quietly. Where are your children right now? Her lawyer touched her arm. Don't answer that. I just want to know they're safe. Don't answer, the lawyer repeated. But Michelle was already talking. With my neighbor. They're safe. What are their names? Officer. This is completely inappropriate. Jason and Emma, 6 and 3. They're lucky to have you as a mom. Michelle's eyes filled with tears. She looked away. Mark crouched down so he was at her eye level. Rex sat beside him, calm and attentive. Michelle, I met a woman named Lisa Park this morning. She had a daughter too. Grace, 4 years old. Heart condition. Officer Henderson, stop talking to my client. Lisa was wearing the same kind of prosthetic belly you're wearing right now. And do you know what happened to her? Michelle was staring at him now, tears streaming down her face. She died. Right there in the airport. The capsule inside her prosthetic ruptured and poisoned her. She died begging me to tell her daughter that she loved her. Mark's voice was gentle but firm. Is that what you want? You want your neighbor to have to explain to Jason and Emma why their mom isn't coming home. That's enough. The lawyer grabbed Mark's arm. This is coercion. This is... Michelle stood up. Her hands went to her belly, and for a moment Mark thought she was going to run, going to collapse, but she just stood there, tears streaming down her face. "It's real," she whispered. "The baby. It's real." Mark felt the floor drop out from under him. "What?" "I'm really pregnant. It's not a prosthetic. It's real." Rex was already moving, circling Michelle again. This time Mark watched carefully. The dog's behavior was different. Curious, but not alarmed. Interested, but not alerting, because there was nothing to alert to. "I don't know anyone named Victor Hale," Michelle continued. "I don't know anything about drugs or smuggling. I'm just trying to visit my husband's family in San Diego before the baby comes. That's all." Rodriguez pulled out her phone, already pulling up records. Michelle Torres, Colorado Springs address, husband deployed with the Army, everything checks out. Hospital records confirm pregnancy. Obstetric appointments, ultrasounds, everything. Mark stood slowly. "You're really pregnant." "Yes." Michelle's voice broke. "I told them that. I told everyone that. But nobody believed me." Her lawyer was already gathering papers. "My client is leaving, now, and you can expect a formal complaint about this harassment." They walked out. Mark stood in the empty room, Rex at his side, and felt the weight of his mistake crushing down on him. 2 hours. They'd wasted 2 hours on a false lead while Hale was out there activating his network, sending more women to their deaths. "Henderson." Rodriguez's voice was quiet. "It's not your fault." But it was. He'd been so sure, so convinced that he'd found another victim, and he'd been wrong. His phone rang. Johnson. "Henderson, we've got movement. Hale's phone pinged a tower in Kansas City 30 minutes ago. He's on the move, and Jesus, he's heading toward the airport." Mark's exhaustion vanished in an instant. "He's activating someone else." "That's what we think. Kansas City field office is scrambling, but they don't have a K9 unit trained for this. They need Rex." "How far?" "Hour and a half by plane." Mark looked at Rodriguez. She was already nodding. "Let's go," he said. But as they ran toward the waiting plane, Mark couldn't shake the image of Lisa Park's hand going limp in his. How many more hands would go limp before they stopped Hale, and how many mistakes could they afford to make before they ran out of chances? The plane was still climbing when Rodriguez's phone rang again. She answered, listened, then went pale. "What?" Mark demanded. "Hale's phone just pinged again. Different location. He's not at the airport anymore." "Where is he?" "Downtown Kansas City. Moving fast. They think he's in a vehicle." Mark's mind raced. "He's not activating someone. He's running. Or leading us away from whoever he is activating." That thought hit Mark like ice water. "How many flights are leaving Kansas City in the next 2 hours?" Rodriguez was already typing. 63 departures. Destinations all over the country. Miami, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Atlanta. All major drug hubs. Yeah. He's got someone at that airport right now, maybe more than one, and we're chasing his phone signal while they board their flights. Rodriguez looked at him. "What do you want to do?" "Get me to Kansas City International. Forget Hale. We stop the women first." She made the call. The pilot adjusted course. 15 minutes later, they were on approach. Mark stared out the window, Rex pressed against his leg. The dog could feel his tension, his fear. They'd already lost one woman today. They couldn't lose another. But how were they supposed to find her 63 flights? Thousands of passengers. And somewhere in that crowd, a desperate mother carrying poison. His phone buzzed. Johnson again. "Henderson, we matched 3 more serial numbers from Hale's blueprints. Got names, addresses, everything. 2 are in custody, pulled them in an hour ago. Devices removed, women are safe. But the third one?" "Kansas City." "Yeah. Name's Angela Reeves, 28. Single mother, 3 kids. Last known location was her apartment in Kansas City. She's not answering her phone. Neighbor says she left 3 hours ago with a suitcase." Destination. Neighbor didn't know, but Angela told her kids she'd be back in 2 days. Mark's hand tightened on the phone. So she thinks this is just a quick trip. She has no idea she's carrying a bomb. None of them do. Hale tells them the prosthetics are foolproof, that security can't detect them. He tells them they'll walk through, deliver the package to a contact on the other side, and be home before their kids even miss them. What airline? Working on it. Credit card shows a purchase at Southwest 3 days ago, but we can't confirm. I need a destination, Johnson. I'm trying, but... The plane touched down hard. Mark was already unbuckling Rex on his feet instantly. Text me everything you've got on Angela Reeves. Photo description, everything. On it. Mark and Rodriguez ran through the terminal. TSA supervisors met them halfway, already briefed, already mobilizing. We've got eyes on every gate, one of them said, but without a specific flight. Southwest Terminal. Now. They ran. Mark's phone buzzed with Johnson's text. A photo appeared, Angela Reeves smiling, holding a baby. Dark hair, round face, tired eyes. She looked like every other exhausted mother Mark had ever seen. She looked like Sarah Mitchell. Like Lisa Park. She looked like someone who would do anything to save her kids. The Southwest Terminal was massive. Dozens of gates, hundreds of people. Mark scanned faces as he ran. Rex pulling ahead, nose working. There. Rodriguez pointed. Gate C-17. A woman matching Angela's description stood in line, boarding pass in hand. She wore a loose gray dress, one hand resting on her pregnant belly. Mark's heart hammered. That's her. But even as he said it, he thought of Michelle Torres, of how sure he'd been, of how wrong he'd been. Rex, he said quietly. Check. The dog moved forward, weaving through passengers. Mark followed close behind, watching Rex's body language, looking for any sign. Rex approached Angela, circled once, and sat. The alert. Mark's blood went cold. Angela Reeves, I need you to come with me. Angela turned. Her eyes widened. What? Why, I haven't... Ma'am, please step out of line. I'm going to miss my flight. I have to... You're not getting on that plane. Something in Mark's voice must have reached her. Angela stepped out of line, hands shaking, tears already forming. I don't understand. What did I do? Nothing. You didn't do anything. Mark kept his voice calm. But I need you to come with me, right now. TSA agents closed in gently, guiding Angela away from the gate. She didn't resist, but she kept looking back at the plane at the gate at her boarding pass. My kids, she whispered. I have to get home to my kids. I know, and we're going to make sure you do. They took her to a private screening room. Angela sat down heavily, both hands pressed to her belly. I'm really pregnant, she said. I can show you ultrasounds. I can... Ms. Reeves, when did Victor Hale give you that prosthetic? Angela's face went blank. I don't. Who? The man who hired you, who told you to get on that plane. Nobody hired me. I'm visiting my sister in Phoenix, that's all. Your sister's name? Maria. What's her address? Angela rattled it off without hesitation. Phone number. She gave that too. Rodriguez was already checking. She looked up a moment later and nodded slightly. Everything was checking out. Mark felt his certainty waver. Rex alerted to you. Your dog made a mistake. My dog doesn't make mistakes. Then maybe... Angela's voice rose. Maybe I walked past someone at the airport. Maybe there was residue on a chair I sat in. I don't know. But I'm really pregnant. This isn't whatever you think it is, you're wrong. Mark looked at Rex. The dog sat calmly, but his eyes were fixed on Angela's belly. Ms. Reeves, I need to examine your abdomen. No. If you're really pregnant. I said no. You can't force me to. Angela stood abruptly. I want a lawyer. I know my rights. You can't hold me without cause. Rodriguez touched Mark's arm. Henderson the dog alerted, but that's not enough for a physical search. We need consent or a warrant. By the time we get a warrant, she could be. I know, but those are the rules. Mark stared at Angela Reeves, at her hands pressed protectively over her belly, at the tears streaming down her face. Was she protecting a baby or protecting a secret? Ms. Reeves, please. A woman died this morning because she was wearing a device just like the one I think you're wearing. She had a 4-year-old daughter. That little girl is never going to see her mother again. Angela's face crumpled. I don't know what you're talking about. I swear I don't. Her phone rang. She pulled it from her purse, instinctively glanced at the screen, then froze. Mark saw her face change, saw recognition, then fear. Who is it? He asked quietly. Nobody. Just spam probably. Answer it. I don't have to. Answer it, right now. Angela's hand shook as she swiped to answer. She held the phone to her ear. Hello? Mark couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but he could see Angela's reaction, the way her face went pale, the way her breathing quickened. I can't, she whispered into the phone. There are police here. She listened. No, you can't, please don't. More listening. Then she started crying. Please, they're just kids. Please don't hurt them. Mark's blood turned to ice. He gestured to Rodriguez, who was already on her own phone, already calling Kansas City PD. Okay, Angela sobbed. Okay, I'll do it. Just don't hurt my kids. Please. She lowered the phone. Mark reached for it, but Angela pulled back. He says, her voice broke. He says if I don't get on that plane, if I don't make the delivery, his people will go to my apartment. My kids are there right now with my babysitter. He knows their names. He knows what they're wearing. He knows. She couldn't finish. Mark grabbed her phone. The call had already ended. Rodriguez, tell me you got a trace. Working on it. Kansas City PD is en route to her apartment now, but if Hale's people are already there. His phone rang. Johnson. Henderson, we've got a situation. Someone just posted bail for 8 women we picked up in the St. Louis raid. Anonymous benefactor, just like with Hale. They walked out of custody 20 minutes ago. Where are they now? We don't know. Ankle monitors were disabled immediately. All 8 women are in the wind. Mark felt the ground shifting under his feet. This wasn't just about stopping smugglers anymore. This was bigger, more coordinated. This was a war. Angela, Mark said quietly. Tell me about the man who hired you. I never met him. Everything was on the phone on encrypted apps. He knew everything about me, my kids' names, my debts, where I worked. He knew I couldn't afford daycare, that I was about to lose my apartment. Angela's tears wouldn't stop. He offered me $50,000, 1 trip, 1 delivery. He said it was medicine, that I'd be helping sick people. You believed him. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. She looked at Mark with desperate eyes. What would you have done if your kids were about to be homeless, if you couldn't feed them, if someone offered you a way out? What would you have done? Mark didn't have an answer. Rodriguez's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, then looked at Mark. Kansas City PD just arrived at Angela's apartment. Kids are safe. Babysitter's safe. No sign of Hale's people. Angela sobbed with relief, her whole body shaking. It was a bluff, Mark said. He was bluffing about hurting your kids. But he knew their names. Because he researched you. Because that's what he does. Mark crouched down beside her. Angela, you're not in trouble. You're a victim. But I need you to help me stop him from doing this to anyone else. How? Let me examine your abdomen. If you're really pregnant, I'll apologize and put you on the next flight to Phoenix myself. But if you're wearing what I think you're wearing... Angela closed her eyes. I'm wearing it. The room went silent. The baby's not real. No. How long have you been wearing the prosthetic? 3 days. He told me I had to get used to it, had to practice moving like I was pregnant. Angela's voice was barely a whisper. I have 3 kids. I know how pregnant women move. It wasn't hard to fake. Where were you supposed to deliver it? Phoenix Airport. Someone would meet me at baggage claim. I'd go to the bathroom, remove the prosthetic, put it in my suitcase. Then I'd visit my sister for real, like nothing happened. And the 50,000 direct deposit once I texted a confirmation code. Mark stood. Rodriguez, get medical in here. We need to remove that device now. I'm calling them. Mark turned back to Angela. You did the right thing. You just saved your own life. Did I? Angela looked up at him. Hale knows I talked. He knows I'm here. What do you think he's going to do? That question hung in the air. Rodriguez's phone rang. She answered, listened, then her face went ashen. What? Mark demanded. Hale's phone just pinged again. He's at Kansas City International. Terminal A. That's... Mark's stomach dropped. That's this terminal. He's here. Everyone moved at once. TSA agents flooded the room. Rodriguez was on her radio calling for backup for bomb squad for everyone. Mark grabbed Angela's arm. Where in Terminal A were you supposed to board? Gate A9. But he's not here for you. He's here for someone else. Mark ran. Rex sprinted ahead, nose down, searching. Terminal A was massive, crowded, full of travelers who had no idea they were in danger. Gate A9 was at the far end. Mark dodged through passengers, his lungs burning, his bad knees screaming. He reached the gate just as boarding began. And there in line were 2 pregnant women, both with suitcases, both moving carefully, protectively, both with the same tired, desperate look in their eyes. Stop! Mark shouted. TSA, nobody board that plane! Chaos erupted. Passengers scattered. The 2 women tried to run, one toward the exit, one deeper into the terminal. Rex chose. He bolted after the woman running toward the exit, barking frantically. Mark followed, his radio clutched in his hand. Rodriguez's second woman heading toward Gate A12. I'm in pursuit of this first. The woman glanced back, saw Mark gaining, and made a decision. She ripped open her dress. Mark saw the prosthetic belly underneath. Saw her fingers find a seam. Saw her start to pull. Don't! Mark screamed. If you rupture a capsule, you'll die. But she wasn't trying to rupture it. She was trying to remove it. Her fingers found something, a release mechanism maybe, and the prosthetic came away in her hands. She threw it. Not at Mark. At the crowd of passengers ahead of her. Time seemed to slow. Mark watched the prosthetic arc through the air, watched it tumble end over end, watched it fall toward a family with 3 small children. Rex was faster. The dog leaped, jaws closing around the prosthetic in midair. He landed hard, the device clenched in his teeth, and ran away from the crowd, away from the gate, toward an empty corner of the terminal. Mark followed, his heart in his throat. Rex, drop it. Drop it now. But Rex didn't drop it. He set it down gently, carefully, then backed away and sat. The good boy. The very good boy who just saved dozens of lives. Mark approached slowly. The prosthetic was intact, no visible ruptures. But his hands were shaking so hard he could barely pull out his phone. Bomb squad to Terminal A. We've got a device. Need immediate containment. They arrived in 90 seconds, suited up, careful, professional. They took the prosthetic away in a containment unit while Mark stood there trying to remember how to breathe. Rex trotted back to him, tail wagging, completely unaware that he'd just performed a miracle. Good boy, Mark whispered, his voice breaking. Such a good boy. Rodriguez appeared beside him. Got the second woman. Device removed. She's safe. The first one. In custody. She's asking for a lawyer, but... Rodriguez paused. Henderson, she's 13 years old. Mark's world tilted. What value? 13. Fake ID. Fake story, probably a fake prosthetic pregnancy to match. Hale's not just recruiting desperate mothers anymore. He's recruiting children. Mark looked at Rex, who was sitting calmly waiting for his next command. How did you fight someone who'd use a 13-year-old girl as a weapon? His phone rang. Unknown number. Mark answered. Henderson. Officer Henderson. The voice was smooth, educated, almost friendly. I've been hearing so much about you and your remarkable dog. Mark's blood went cold. Hale. I prefer Victor, but yes, I wanted to congratulate you. You've been quite the thorn in my operation. Where are you? Leaving Kansas City, I'm afraid. I've seen enough, but don't worry, we'll see each other again soon. You're going to prison. Am I? Hale laughed. You've caught what a dozen women seized a few devices. Congratulations, you've barely scratched the surface. We have your blueprints. We know about all 43. Hale's laugh was genuine now. Oh, Officer Henderson, those blueprints were for Phase 1. We're on Phase 3 now. The line went dead. Mark stood there, phone pressed to his ear, trying to process what he'd just heard. Phase 3. Rodriguez, he said slowly. How many women did we actually recover from the warehouse? 5, plus the 3 we pulled from airports. That's 8 total. Hale recruited 43. Yeah. We're still hunting for the other 35. What if those blueprints were fake? What if he wanted us to find them? Rodriguez stared at him. Why would he? To make us think we knew the full scope. To make us think we were winning. Mark's hands clenched into fists. While we were chasing 43 women, he was recruiting 100 more. Or 200. Or, we don't know that. Don't we? Mark looked at her. He just told me we've barely scratched the surface. He's not panicking. He's not running scared. His phone rang again. Johnson. Henderson, you need to see this. I'm sending you a link. What is it? Just look. The link came through. Mark opened it. A video. Posted on some dark web forum 10 minutes ago. The title read, To Officer Henderson and His Faithful Dog. Mark's finger hovered over the play button. Don't, Rodriguez warned. Let the tech team review it first. But Mark was already pressing play. Victor Hale appeared on screen. Sitting in what looked like a nondescript hotel room, hands folded calmly on a table. Officer Henderson, Hale began. I wanted to thank you. Your efforts have been extraordinary. You and Rex have saved 8 lives. You should be proud. Hale's smile widened. But here's what you don't understand. Those 8 women, they were never meant to succeed. They were tests, prototypes, training exercises to help me refine the system. Mark's blood turned to ice. The real operation begins tomorrow. 30 airports. 60 women, all boarding planes simultaneously, all carrying devices your dog won't detect because I've learned from your methods. I've adapted, evolved. Hale leaned forward. You can't stop them all, Officer Henderson. Even with your miracle dog, you can't be in 30 places at once. So here's my question, who do you save? Which airport do you choose? Which women do you rescue while others die? The video froze on Hale's face. Mark lowered his phone slowly. He's insane, Rodriguez whispered. No. Mark's voice was hollow. He's smart. He's been playing us from the beginning. What do we do? Mark looked down at Rex. The dog was watching him, waiting for direction. What did they do? How did you stop a network that was everywhere and nowhere? How did you save 60 women when you barely had time to save 1? We call everyone, Mark said finally. FBI, DEA, TSA, local PD at every major airport. We share everything we know about the devices, the symptoms, the profiles. We train their dogs. That'll take days, he said tomorrow. Then we work fast. But even as Mark said it, he knew the truth. Hale was right. They couldn't stop them all. Some of those women were going to die, and there was nothing Mark could do to save them. They worked through the night. Conference calls with 30 airports, training videos sent to every K-9 unit in the country, profiles distributed to TSA agents coast to coast. By dawn, they'd done everything they could, and it still wasn't enough. Mark sat in the Kansas City field office, Rex asleep at his feet. He'd been awake for 43 hours. His eyes burned. His body ached. Rodriguez brought him coffee. "You should rest." "Can't." Henderson. 60 women, Rodriguez. 60 families. 60 children who might wake up tomorrow without their mothers. "We've done everything." "It's not enough." Mark's voice cracked. "It's never enough. We save 8 Hale recruits. 80. We stop one device, he builds 10 more. How do we win this?" Rodriguez sat beside him. "We don't. Not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But eventually we will." "How can you be sure because of that?" She pointed at Rex. "Because you've got the best detection dog in the country. Because you won't give up. Because Hale made one critical mistake." "What's that?" "He made this personal. He called you out by name. He's not just running an operation anymore, he's trying to prove he's smarter than you. And that kind of ego," Rodriguez smiled grimly, "that's what's going to bring him down." Mark wanted to believe her. His phone buzzed. Johnson. "Henderson, we've got something. Hale's video, our tech team traced it. He made a mistake with the metadata. We know where he recorded it." Mark sat up straight. "Where, Yana?" "Dallas. Motel 6 off Highway 35. Local PD is en route now." "I want to be there." "Henderson, you can barely stand." "I want to be there." Rodriguez was already calling for the plane. 20 minutes later, they were airborne. Mark stared out the window as the sun rose. Rex stirred, stretched, then settled his head on Mark's knee. "Almost there, boy," Mark murmured. Almost there. But were they? Or were they just chasing shadows? While Hale laughed and activated his network. The plane touched down in Dallas 45 minutes later. Local PD met them at the airport. 3 squad cars, lights flashing, ready to move. They drove in silence. The Motel 6 was exactly the kind of place someone like Hale would hide, cheap, anonymous cash only. Room 217. SWAT was already in position. Rodriguez gave the signal. They breached the door. The room was empty. No Hale, no equipment. No sign anyone had been there at all. Except for one thing. On the bed, carefully arranged, was a police K-9 vest. And pinned to the vest was a note, "For Rex. He'll need this tomorrow. VH." Mark picked up the vest with shaking hands. It was exactly Rex's size. "He's taunting us," Rodriguez said quietly. "No." Mark turned the vest over. On the back, embroidered in neat letters, was a single word, hero. "He's honoring him. He's—" Mark couldn't finish. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Tomorrow, Officer Henderson. 30 airports, 60 women. Let's see if your hero can save them all." Mark looked at Rex. The dog tilted his head, waiting. And Mark realized that tomorrow they were going to find out if a dog could save the world, or if they were already too late. Mark didn't sleep that night. He sat in the Dallas field office, the K-9 vest spread across the table in front of him. Rex lay at his feet, finally resting after 2 days of constant work. Rodriguez paced behind him, phone pressed to her ear. She'd been coordinating with field offices across the country for 6 hours straight. "Confirmed. Atlanta has 3 K-9 units ready. Boston has 2. Seattle." She paused, listening. "1 dog. That's it. What about Portland?" Mark tuned her out. His mind was stuck on Hale's message. 30 airports, 60 women. Tomorrow. Except tomorrow was already here. It was 4:47 a.m. Sunrise in 90 minutes. The first wave of morning flights would begin boarding at 6. "We need to make a choice," Rodriguez said, ending her call. We can't cover 30 airports with the resources we have. We need to prioritize. How do you prioritize lives? Henderson. No, seriously. Tell me how you decide which airports get protection and which ones don't. Tell me how you explain to a 4-year-old girl why her mother died because we chose to save someone else. Rodriguez sat down across from him. We use data. Flight patterns, destinations, previous trafficking routes. We identify the most likely targets. And Hale knows we'll do that. So he'll hit the airports we don't protect. Then what do you suggest? Mark stared at the vest. At the word hero embroidered on the back. We split up, he said quietly. What? You take half the airports. I take the other half. We move fast, hit as many locations as possible. That's impossible. Even with a plane, even with perfect timing. I know. Mark looked up at her. But it's better than nothing. Rodriguez studied him. You're going to kill yourself trying to save everyone. Better than living with not trying. His phone rang. Johnson. Henderson, we've got movement. Credit card pings at hotels near 12 different airports. Women checking out heading toward terminals. It's starting. Mark grabbed the vest, stood up. Rex was on his feet, instantly alert and ready. Which airports? Miami, Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, Nashville, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Boston, Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, LA. 12, not 30. He lied, Rodriguez said. Or he's testing us. Doesn't matter. Mark was already moving toward the door. We need to... His phone buzzed again. A text from the unknown number. Did you really think I'd make it easy? 12 airports now. 18 more at noon. Good luck. Officer Henderson. Mark's jaw clenched. He's staggering them, spreading us thin. Where do we start? Mark looked at the list Johnson had sent. 12 cities. 12 chances to save lives. 12 chances to fail. Dallas, we're already here. Then we work outward. They ran. The plane was waiting on the tarmac, engines already running. Mark and Rex climbed aboard Rodriguez right behind them. Dallas first, then Houston, Rodriguez said into her phone. Get TSA on full alert. Every pregnant woman gets secondary screening. I don't care if it causes delays. I don't care if people complain. Nobody boards a plane until we clear them. The plane took off as the sun broke over the horizon. Mark strapped the vest onto Rex. The dog stood patiently, letting Mark adjust the straps. When it was secure, Mark stepped back. Rex looked like what he was, a hero preparing for war. You ready, boy? Rex barked once, sharp and clear. They hit Dallas-Fort Worth International at 6:23 a.m. TSA had already flagged 4 pregnant women in secondary screening. Mark and Rex moved through them quickly, methodically. Rex sniffed each woman, circled, assessed. First woman, no alert. Real pregnancy, real terror at being detained. Mark apologized and sent her on her way. Second woman, no alert. Same story. Third woman, Rex sat. Mark's heart sank. Ma'am, I need you to come with me. The woman started crying immediately. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. He said my mom would die if I didn't. She was 19. Barely older than a child herself. Medical removed the prosthetic in under 10 minutes. The woman was safe. 1 down. Fourth woman, Mark asked. Already cleared. Boarded her flight 5 minutes ago. Mark felt ice in his veins. Which flight? Southwest 1847 to Phoenix. Get it back, now. TSA called the gate. The plane was already pushing back from the terminal. Tell them to return to the gate. Tell them there's a security threat. 2 minutes later, the plane rolled back. Passengers were confused, some angry. But Mark didn't care. He boarded with Rex. The dog moved down the aisle, checking each passenger. Row by row, seat by seat. He stopped at row 17. The woman sitting there had short blonde hair, glasses, a laptop open on her tray table. She looked like a business traveler, professional, put together, not pregnant at all. Rex sat anyway. Mark's mind raced. Ma'am, I need you to stand up. What? Why? Please stand up. The woman closed her laptop, annoyed. This is ridiculous. I have a meeting in Phoenix. She stood, and Mark saw it. The loose blazer. The way she held her arms slightly away from her body. Lift your shirt. Excuse me? Lift your shirt. Now. The woman's face changed. Fear replaced annoyance. Her hand moved toward her waistband. Rex growled. Don't, Mark warned. Whatever you're reaching for, don't. The woman's hand froze. Slowly, she lifted her blazer. Strapped to her torso was a flat prosthetic device. Not a pregnant belly, something thinner, more concealable. Something that could hide under business clothes. Phase 3, Mark whispered. The woman's eyes filled with tears. My daughter. He has my daughter. Who has your daughter? I don't know his name. He took her from school yesterday. He said if I didn't wear this and get on the plane... Mark was already calling Rodriguez. We've got a problem. Hale's not just using pregnant women anymore. He's using anyone, everyone. We need to expand screening protocols immediately. Henderson, that's impossible. We can't screen every passenger at 30 airports. Then people are going to die. He ended the call and turned back to the woman. What's your daughter's name? Claire. She's 8. Where did he take her? I don't know. He calls me, tells me what to do. He said once I land in Phoenix, once I deliver the device, he'll let her go. He's lying. You know he's lying. The woman nodded, tears streaming. But what if he's not? What if there's a chance? There's no chance. The only way to save your daughter is to help us find him. Medical boarded the plane. They removed the device carefully. The woman sobbed the entire time. Mark got off the plane and immediately called Johnson. We need to find a missing 8-year-old girl named Claire, last seen yesterday near a school. Mother's name. He looked at the woman. What's your name? Jennifer. Jennifer Cole. Jennifer Cole's daughter. Get Amber Alert issued. Get local PD searching. Now. On it. Mark looked at Rodriguez. How many more flights are boarding? At Dallas 43 in the next 2 hours. We need more dogs. There are no more dogs, not trained for this. Mark's phone buzzed. Johnson again. Henderson, we've got alerts at 3 more airports. Miami just found 2 women. Houston found 1. Phoenix. He paused. Phoenix just had a device rupture. Woman collapsed at the gate. EMTs are en route. Is she alive? Don't know yet. Mark closed his eyes. They were too slow, too scattered. Hale was winning. Get me to Phoenix, now. They ran back to the plane. Takeoff at 7:14 a.m. 90-minute flight. Mark spent the entire time on the phone coordinating with airports, directing K-9 units, trying to be everywhere at once. It wasn't enough. Updates came in rapid-fire. Miami. 3 women detained, devices removed, all safe. Boston. 1 woman collapsed. DOA. Nashville. 2 women detained, 1 escaped, still at large. Charlotte. No alerts yet, waiting. Seattle. 4 women detained, all safe. LA. 1 woman detained, 1 dead, 2 still unaccounted for. The numbers blurred together. Safe, dead, missing, safe, dead. How many more? They landed in Phoenix at 8:47 a.m. Mark and Rex ran through the terminal. TSA directed them to the medical bay. The woman from the ruptured device was already gone. Body-covered EMTs packing up their equipment. She didn't make it, one of them said quietly. Massive fentanyl overdose. We tried, but... Did she say anything? Any last words? The paramedic hesitated. She kept asking about someone named Marcus. Kept saying she was sorry. Another child without a mother. Mark's hands clenched into fists. Where's her phone? TSA has it. Evidence. I need it. Now. They brought him the phone in an evidence bag. Mark pulled it out, scrolled through recent calls. 3 numbers appeared repeatedly. All from the last 24 hours. Mark called the first one. A child answered. Mommy. Mark's throat tightened. Hi. What's your name? Marcus. Where's my mommy? She said she'd call when she landed. Marcus, I'm Officer Henderson. He couldn't finish. How did you tell a child their mother was dead? Is she coming home soon? Marcus, is there an adult there with you? A babysitter or... Grandma's here. She's sleeping. Mommy said not to wake her. Can you wake her for me? It's important. Okay. Rustling sounds. A door opening. Then an older woman's voice, groggy with sleep. Hello? Ma'am, my name is Officer Mark Henderson. I'm with the... He paused, searching for the right words. I need to talk to you about your daughter. The silence on the other end told him she already knew. Oh God, she whispered. Oh God, no. Mark spent 5 minutes on the phone with her. 5 minutes that felt like 5 hours. When he finally hung up, his hands were shaking. Rodriguez touched his shoulder. Henderson, how many more calls like that am I going to make today? She didn't answer. His phone rang. The unknown number. Mark answered. Hail. Officer Henderson, how's your morning going? Where are you? Watching, always watching. You saved Jennifer Cole's daughter, by the way. Well done. We released Claire 20 minutes ago. Dropped her off at her school completely unharmed. You're lying. Check the news. Mark put Hale on speaker and opened a browser. The headline hit him immediately. Missing 8-year-old found safe at Phoenix Elementary School. Claire Cole. Unharmed. Confused, but alive. See? Hale's voice was almost cheerful. I'm not a monster. I keep my promises when people cooperate. You killed 2 women this morning. They died because you interfered. If you'd let them complete their deliveries, they'd be alive right now. That's not how this works. That's exactly how this works. You're so focused on stopping me that you're not seeing the bigger picture. These women need help. They need money for their children, for medical care, for survival. I provide that help. You take it away. By turning them into drug mules, by strapping bombs to their bodies. By giving them options they didn't have before, options your broken system never provided. Hale's voice hardened. How much does insulin cost in this country? Officer Henderson, how much does chemotherapy cost? How much does it cost to keep a child alive when you don't have insurance? That doesn't justify, doesn't it? You arrested Angela Reeves, removed her device, sent her home to her 3 children. And now what? She still can't afford their medical care. She's still drowning in debt. You didn't save her. You just delayed her suffering. Mark wanted to argue, wanted to tell Hale he was wrong. But part of him wondered if Hale had a point. Where are the other women? Mark asked. The 18 you said would be activated at noon. Curious, aren't you? Tell me, Officer Henderson, how many airports have you visited this morning? 3. And how many women have you personally saved? Mark did the math. Jennifer Cole. Angela Reeves. The 19-year-old in Dallas. 3. 3. Out of how many dead? 2. Are you sure? Because Seattle just had another capsule rupture. And LA's about to get very interesting. The line went dead. Mark was already running. Rodriguez, get me to LA. Now. Henderson, we can't keep hopping cities. We need a strategy. The strategy is saving lives. Get me to LA. They boarded the plane. Took off at 9:33 a.m. Mark's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Updates from airports across the country. Some good, most bad. Atlanta. 2 women safe. 1 critical condition. Philadelphia. 3 women safe. Portland. 1 dead, 1 critical. San Francisco. 4 women detained, all safe. Houston. 2 women safe. 1 escaped into the city. The escaped women terrified Mark the most. Women carrying poison wandering through cities ticking time bombs that could rupture at any moment. They landed in LA at 10:41 a.m. TSA met them at the gate. We've got 5 pregnant women in secondary screening, all claiming to be legitimate travelers. But we also found this. They led Mark to a bathroom in Terminal 3. Inside a trash can wrapped in paper towels was a prosthetic belly. Empty, already delivered. Whoever was wearing this got through security, the TSA agent said. Could have been an hour ago. Could have been 3 minutes ago. Pull surveillance footage. Find her. Already working on it. Mark and Rex moved through the terminal. The dog's nose worked constantly, sampling thousands of cents per second. But there were too many people. Too much noise. Too much chaos. Rex stopped suddenly. His body went rigid. His ears shot forward. "What is it, boy?" Rex growled, then bolted toward Gate 77. Mark ran after him, his bad knees screaming. Gate 77 was boarding a flight to Miami. Passengers lined up, boarding passes ready. Rex pushed through the line, ignoring everyone, focused on one target. A teenage girl, maybe 16. Headphones in, scrolling her phone. Not pregnant. Not even wearing loose clothing. But Rex sat. "Miss, I need you to come with me." The girl pulled out her headphones. "What? Why?" "Just come with me, please. I'm going to miss my flight." "You're not getting on that plane." Security moved in. The girl looked terrified but compliant. They took her to a private room. "Lift your shirt," Mark said. "This is so messed up. Lift your shirt." The girl did. Strapped to her torso was a thin device, almost invisible under her clothes. Mark's blood ran cold. "How old are you?" 16. "Who gave you this device?" Nobody gave it to me. It's mine." "It's filled with narcotics. You could die wearing this." The girl's face went pale. "What? No. He said it was just medicine. For sick kids in Miami. He said I was helping people." "Who said that?" "A man. He met me at school. Offered me $2,000 to deliver medicine to Miami. I thought..." Tears started. "I thought I was doing something good." 16 years old. Still a child. And Hale had turned her into a weapon. Medical removed the device. The girl sobbed the entire time. Mark's phone rang. "Johnson." "Henderson, we've got a problem. The 18 women Hale mentioned, they're not at airports. They're at train stations." Mark's world tilted. "What?" "Amtrak stations across the country. All boarding trains at noon. Different routes, different destinations. He's spreading the network to trains now. That's thousands of passengers. Dozens of stations. We can't..." "I know." Mark looked at his watch. 11:47 a.m. 13 minutes until noon. "Which stations?" "All the major hubs. New York, Chicago, D.C., New Orleans, Denver, Portland, Seattle, L.A. "We're in L.A. Which station?" "Union Station, downtown." "You've got 12 minutes. Mark grabbed Rodriguez. "We need to go. Now." They ran. The drive to Union Station took 9 minutes. Every second felt like an hour. They arrived at 11:58 a.m. The station was packed. Hundreds of travelers, dozens of departures. "How do we find her?" Rodriguez asked. Mark looked at Rex. "We trust the dog." He unclipped Rex's leash. "Find them, boy. Find them all." Rex took off. Mark and Rodriguez followed, pushing through crowds. Rex's nose worked overtime, zigzagging through the station. He stopped at track 7. A train to San Francisco boarding in 2 minutes. And there in line were 3 women, all pregnant, all carrying small bags, all with the same haunted look in their eyes. "Stop!" Mark shouted. "Nobody board that train!" Chaos erupted. Passengers scattered. The 3 women tried to run, one toward the exit, 2 toward the train. Rex chose the one heading for the exit. Mark grabbed the other two. Rodriguez, I need backup. Police flooded in. They detained both women. Medical arrived seconds later, but the third woman was gone. Mark ran outside Rex ahead of him. The woman was fast, desperate, weaving through traffic. She made it across the street into an alley. Mark followed. His lungs burned, his legs screamed. The woman stopped suddenly, turned to face him. "Don't come closer," she gasped. I'll rupture it myself. I swear I will." Her hand was on her belly, on the release mechanism. Mark raised both hands. "Don't. Please. You'll die." "I'm already dead. My son has cancer, stage 4. The treatment costs $500,000. Insurance won't cover it. I can't." Her voice broke. "I can't watch him die." "Then don't. Help us stop Hale. Help us save your son." "Hale?" She laughed bitterly. "I don't know anyone named Hale. The man who hired me called himself Smith. Said if I delivered this, my son would get treatment. Anonymous donor. All expenses paid." He was lying. Was he? Tears streamed down her face. "Because I got a call this morning. The hospital called. Someone paid my son's treatment in full. Anonymous donation. $300,000. Mark felt the ground shift. What? So maybe he wasn't lying. Maybe he keeps his promises to people who cooperate. Or maybe he's manipulating you. I don't care. The woman's hand tightened on the mechanism. "My son is getting treatment. My son is going to live. That's all that matters. What's your son's name?" "David. He's 12. "And if you die here, if you rupture that device and poison yourself, what happens to David? Who takes care of him during treatment? Who holds his hand when he's scared?" The woman's hand trembled. "His grandmother. We'll step up. We'll do her best. But it won't be you. It won't be his mother. Stop. David needs you alive. Not rich. Not debt-free. Just alive." The woman's hand dropped. She collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Mark approached slowly. Rex stayed close, ready. "Let us remove the device. Let us keep you safe. And then we'll figure out how to help David. I promise." "You can't promise that." "No, but I can try." The woman looked up at him with shattered eyes. "Why do you care?" "Because someone has to." Medical arrived. They removed the device carefully. The woman, her name was Patricia, kept crying, kept asking about David, kept saying she was sorry. Mark's phone buzzed. 12:47 p.m. A text from the unknown number, 17 down. 1 to go. "But this one's Special Officer Henderson. This one's for you." Mark's blood turned to ice. "Rodriguez, where's the 18th woman?" She was already checking her phone. There's no reports of..." Another text, Lambert International Airport, Terminal C. Right where this all started. Poetic. Don't you think Mark's hands shook? St. Louis. He's sending someone to St. Louis. But why? What's different about... Mark's phone rang. Johnson. His voice was panicked. "Henderson, you need to get to St. Louis. Now. Hale just posted another video. He's claiming the woman at Lambert isn't carrying narcotics." "Then what is she carrying?" "An actual bomb. He says if she doesn't deliver it, if anyone tries to remove it, it detonates. He says..." Johnson's voice cracked. "He says it's big enough to take out the entire terminal." Mark felt everything stop. A bomb. A real bomb. Not narcotics, not poison explosives. And he was in Los Angeles, 2,000 miles away. "Who do we have in St. Louis?" Mark asked. "Local K-9 units. Bomb squad on standby." "But Henderson..." "What?" "The woman wearing the device. We identified her from security footage." "Who is it?" Johnson was silent for a long moment. "It's Sarah Mitchell." Mark's world shattered. Sarah. The first woman they'd saved. The woman who'd cooperated, who'd testified, who'd helped them bring down Hale's network. "That's impossible. She's in witness protection." She walked out this morning, said she needed to see her son. By the time the agents realized what was happening, she was gone. Mark couldn't breathe. Hale got to her. Yeah. What did he promise her? We don't know, but Henderson, she's wearing the device. She's at the airport. And according to Hale's video, the bomb detonates in 90 minutes. Mark looked at his watch. 12:51 p.m. 90 minutes. He looked at Rodriguez. Get me to St. Louis. Now. Henderson. There's no way even with a direct flight, we can't make it in 90 minutes. Then we make it in 89. They ran. The DEA plane broke every speed regulation getting to St. Louis. Mark sat in silence, Rex pressed against his leg. His watch read 1:17 p.m. 73 minutes until detonation. Rodriguez was on 3 phones at once coordinating evacuation protocols, bomb squad deployment tactical teams. Her voice was steady professional, but Mark could see her hands shaking. Bomb squad confirms they've located Sarah Mitchell in Terminal C, she said. She's sitting near gate C14, not moving, not talking to anyone, just sitting there with her hands on her belly. Have they tried to approach her? Negative. Hale's video said any attempt to remove the device triggers immediate detonation. They're keeping a 50-foot perimeter. Mark's jaw clenched. What about Tommy? Her son. Still with the neighbor. Doesn't know what's happening. Keep it that way. The plane began its descent. Mark looked out the window. Lambert International stretched below them, sprawling and busy. Thousands of people down there, completely unaware that one woman was carrying enough explosives to kill hundreds. Evacuation status? Mark asked. They're clearing Terminal C now, telling passengers there's a mechanical issue rerouting flights. But Henderson? Rodriguez paused. They can't evacuate everyone. There are employees, maintenance crews, people in secure areas. Even if they clear the gates, there are still going to be people in that terminal. How many? Best estimate 200. Maybe more. 200 lives. And Sarah Mitchell sitting in the middle of them all. The plane touched down at 1:34 p.m. 56 minutes. Mark and Rex hit the ground running. A police escort waited, lights already flashing. They drove straight to Terminal C. The terminal was eerily quiet. Most passengers had been evacuated, but Mark could see staff members huddled in corners, bomb squad technicians setting up equipment, negotiators preparing their approach. And at gate C14, alone in a sea of empty chairs, sat Sarah Mitchell. She looked exactly as Mark remembered. Tired eyes, worn face, hands resting protectively over a belly that this time held something far more deadly than narcotics. Mark approached slowly. Rex stayed close, but his body language was different now, uncertain, confused, because Sarah wasn't a threat. She was a victim. Sarah, Mark called out gently. It's Officer Henderson. Can we talk? Sarah's head turned. Recognition flickered across her face, followed by shame, then despair. You can't come closer, she said. Her voice was hollow. If you come closer, it detonates. How do you know that? He told me. He showed me. There's a proximity sensor. If anyone gets within 20 feet, it goes off. Mark stopped at exactly 21 feet. Is that true? Or is that what Hale told you to keep people away? I don't know. I can't. Sarah's voice broke. I can't risk it. Talk to me. Tell me what happened. Sarah laughed bitterly. What happened? I testified against Hale. I helped you. I thought I was doing the right thing. And then yesterday someone grabbed Tommy from the playground. Mark's blood went cold. They took your son. For 4 hours. 4 hours of not knowing if he was alive, if he was hurt, if I'd ever see him again. And then Hale called, said if I wanted Tommy back, I'd do exactly what he told me. And he gave you Tommy back. Dropped him at my neighbor's house like nothing happened. Tommy doesn't even remember being taken. Hale drugged him, erased his memory somehow. My baby doesn't even know he was kidnapped. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. But I know. I'll always know. What did Hale tell you to do? Put on this device. Come to the airport. Sit in this exact spot until 2:30 p.m. And then... She couldn't finish. And then what? He didn't say. He just said, if I moved, if I tried to leave, if I let anyone remove the device. Sarah's hands pressed harder against the prosthetic. Tommy would disappear, permanently this time. Mark's mind raced. Where's Tommy now? With my neighbor. Safe. I think. I hope. Sarah looked at him with desperate eyes. Is he safe? Can you check? Can someone check? Rodriguez was already on her phone. Sending a unit to the neighbor's house now. Mark checked his watch. 1:41 p.m., 49 minutes. Sarah, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Hale is manipulating you. Whatever he promised, whatever he threatened. He killed Lisa Park. Sarah interrupted. I saw the news. The woman in Chicago. She had a daughter, too. Just like me. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Am I going to die like her? No. You can't promise that. Yes, I can, because I'm not leaving this terminal without you. Sarah shook her head. You don't understand. This isn't like the other devices. This is different. He showed me, he made me watch him arm it. There's enough explosive in here to... She stopped, unable to say it. To kill everyone in this terminal. Mark finished. I know. Then why are you still here? Why haven't you run? Because you're still here. Sarah stared at him. That's insane. Probably. Mark glanced at Rex, who was sitting calmly at his side. But my dog doesn't run from people who need help, and neither do I. Rodriguez touched Mark's shoulder. Henderson Bomb Squad says they might be able to disarm it remotely. They've got a signal jammer that could disable the proximity sensor. Might? Mark interrupted. 70% success rate. And the other 30%? Rodriguez didn't answer. No, Mark said firmly. We're not risking it. Then what's your plan? Mark didn't have one. His watch read 1:46 p.m. 44 minutes. His phone buzzed. The unknown number. Mark answered on speaker. Hale. Officer Henderson, right on time. How does it feel standing there knowing you can't save her? Why Sarah? Why not just blow up the terminal without involving her? Hale's voice was pleasant conversational. Because that would be terrorism. This is a lesson. A lesson in what? In consequences. Sarah Mitchell betrayed me. She testified. She helped you dismantle my network. And now she pays the price. Sarah sobbed. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't help, Sarah, Hale said. But don't worry. Your son will be taken care of. I've arranged for an anonymous trust fund. Tommy will have everything he needs, better than you could have ever provided. You're going to let him grow up thinking his mother was a terrorist, Mark said, a bomber who killed hundreds of people. Am I? Or am I giving him a better life than he would have had with a convicted drug smuggler for a mother? Hale paused. You see, Officer Henderson, I'm not the villain here. I'm the solution to a broken system. These women come to me because society failed them first. Society didn't strap a bomb to Sarah Mitchell's chest. You did. After she betrayed me. After she chose you over me. Actions have consequences. Mark's hand tightened on the phone. What do you want? Want I have everything I want. I've proven my point. The bomb detonates at 2:30. You have, let's see, 42 minutes to say goodbye. There has to be a way to stop this. There is. It's very simple, actually. Hale's voice turned cold. Sarah can walk out of the terminal, right now. She has my permission to leave. The proximity sensor won't trigger if she moves away from other people. She can walk out, get in a car, drive to the middle of nowhere and wait for the timer to run out. Save everyone else. Die alone in a field somewhere. Sarah's eyes widened. I can leave. You can leave, Hale confirmed. Take the bomb somewhere isolated. Be a hero. Save all those innocent people. Or stay where you are and let everyone die with you. Your choice. The line went dead. Sarah stood up slowly, Her whole body trembled. I can leave. I can save everyone. Sarah, wait. No. Her voice was stronger now. He's right. If I leave, if I drive somewhere empty, I save hundreds of people. You'll die. I was already going to die. At least this way, Tommy doesn't grow up knowing his mother killed innocent people. Sarah started walking toward the exit. Tell Tommy I love him. Tell him I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Sarah, stop. But she kept walking. 30 feet away now. 40. Rex whined. The dog looked up at Mark, then at Sarah, then back at Mark. And Mark understood. Rex wasn't alerting to a bomb. He was alerting to a lie. Sarah, stop, Mark shouted. It's a trap. Sarah paused. What? Think about it. Why would Hale give you an out? Why would he let you save everyone else? Because he wants me to die alone, as punishment. No, because he wants you to walk out of this terminal and detonate in a populated area outside. Parking garage drop-off zone wherever there are more people. Mark's mind raced. He evacuated Terminal C. That means fewer casualties here. But outside, thousands of travelers' cars, families picking up loved ones. The death toll would be massive. Sarah's face went ashen. Oh God. That's his real target. That's his lesson. He makes you think you're being heroic, makes you walk right into a crowd, and then, I can't move. I can't. Sarah sank back into the chair. I can't go anywhere. I can't stay here. What do I do? Mark checked his watch. 1:54 p.m., 36 minutes. Rodriguez's phone rang. She answered, listened, then looked at Mark. Tommy's safe. Unit confirmed visual. He's playing in the neighbor's backyard. No sign of any threats. Sarah's relief was visible. He's okay. He's really okay. He's safe, Mark confirmed. Hale was bluffing. Or he's waiting until after I'm dead to take him. Sarah's hands pressed against the device. As long as this thing is on me, Tommy's in danger. Mark's phone buzzed. A text from Johnson. Found something in Hale's financial records. 6 offshore accounts, all emptied in the last 48 hours. Total $47 million. He's liquidating everything. Planning to disappear. Mark typed back. Where is he? The response came immediately. We don't know. His phone's been dark for an hour. He's gone. Gone. With $47 million. While Sarah sat here wearing his final revenge. Mark looked at Rex. The dog was staring at Sarah with that intense, focused expression he got when he was working. Rex, check. The dog stood, started to move toward Sarah, then stopped, sat down, looked back at Mark. No alert. Mark's heart skipped. Rex, check again. Rex didn't move. Henderson, what's wrong? Rodriguez asked. He's not alerting. Mark stared at his dog. Rex always alerts to explosives. Always. But he's not alerting to Sarah. What does that mean? Mark thought about Lisa Park, about Angela Reeves, about the 13-year-old girl in L.A. He thought about how Rex had behaved with each of them. The desperate barking, the whining, the absolute certainty that something was wrong. And then he thought about Sarah, about how Rex had approached her calmly, without urgency. There's no bomb, Mark said quietly. What? Rodriguez stared at him. Henderson Hale's video was a lie, or a bluff, or a test. Mark started walking toward Sarah. 20 feet, you said. That's when the proximity sensor triggers. Don't, Sarah screamed. Please, don't. Mark walked past the 20-foot mark. Nothing happened. 15 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet. He stopped directly in front of Sarah. Still nothing. It's not real, Mark said gently. The bomb isn't real. Sarah's face crumpled. But he showed me, he made me watch. He showed you something. But Sarah, my dog has never been wrong. Not once in 12 years. If there were explosives in that device, Rex would be going crazy right now, and he's not. Then what is it? What am I wearing? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Mark gestured to the bomb squad. They approached cautiously, scanning equipment held high. No explosive signature, one of them confirmed after a moment. Whatever's in there, it's not a bomb. They removed the device carefully. Sarah sobbed with relief as the straps came loose as the weight lifted from her body. Inside the prosthetic, they found something that made Mark's blood boil. A phone, recording everything, and a note. "Congratulations, Officer Henderson. You passed the test. But the real game starts now. VH." Mark stared at the note, his hands shaking. This had all been theater. A performance. Hale had evacuated Terminal C, made everyone think there was a bomb watched as they scrambled and panicked and prepared for mass casualties. All to prove a point. All to show that he could manipulate everyone, even Mark. "He's been watching," Rodriguez said quietly. "This whole time, he's been watching our response. He's studying us," Mark realized. "Learning our protocols, our procedures, our response times. This was reconnaissance. For what?" Mark looked at his watch. 2:11 p.m. 19 minutes until the bomb was supposed to detonate. His phone rang. Unknown number. "You son of a—" "Language Officer Henderson." Hale interrupted. "There might be children listening." "What is this? What are you doing?" "I'm giving you a choice, a real one this time." Hale's voice was calm. "You're right, there was no bomb on Sarah Mitchell. That was just to get you to St. Louis. To get you exactly where I needed you." "Why?" "Because the real bombs are somewhere else. 3 actual devices, 3 different locations, all set to detonate at 2:30. That's—" Hale paused. 18 minutes from now." Mark's stomach dropped. "Where?" "That's the choice, Officer Henderson. I'll tell you where one of them is. Just one. You and your miracle dog can save maybe 50 people, maybe 100. But the other 2, those will detonate. Those people will die, and you'll have to live with knowing you chose to save some and not others. Tell me all 3 locations." "No, that's not how this works. You get one. Choose wisely." Hale's voice hardened. "Location 1. A high school in Kansas City. Junior prom happening right now. 300 teenagers. Location 2. A hospital in Dallas. Pediatric ward. 42 children, most of them terminal. Location 3. A nursing home in Phoenix. 117 residents, average age 83. Mark felt the world tilt. "You can't—" "I already have. 3 women, 3 devices, 3 locations, all armed, all set to detonate in 17 minutes. You can save one group, the others die." "So tell me, Officer Henderson, who deserves to live? The teenagers with their whole lives ahead of them. The dying children who might only have months anyway, or the elderly who've already lived full lives. This is insane. This is reality. This is the choice desperate people make every day. Who gets the insulin? Who gets the surgery? Who lives and who dies based on what they can afford?" Hale's voice was passionate now, evangelical. "I'm just making you face that choice directly. No hiding behind insurance companies or hospital administrators or government bureaucrats. You decide. Right now. Who do you save?" Mark's mind raced. "Rodriguez, get teams to all 3 locations." "Already doing it," she said, phone pressed to her ear. "But Henderson, even with simultaneous response, we can't evacuate 3 locations in 17 minutes. We'll need bomb squad at each site, and we don't have time for that." "Then what do we do?" Mark looked at Rex. The dog was watching him, waiting. 1 location, 1 chance to save lives. "How did you make that choice?" "Hale," Mark said. "If I choose 1 location, you'll really give me the address. You'll let us stop it." "I'm a man of my word. Officer Henderson, ask Sarah Mitchell. Oh wait, she's right there. Sarah, did I keep my promise about Tommy?" Sarah was crying too hard to answer. "See, I keep my promises. Choose a location, I'll give you the address, and you can be a hero. Save dozens of lives. Just accept that hundreds of others will die. Mark closed his eyes. Teenagers, children, elderly. There was no right answer. I need more time. 16 minutes. Clock's ticking. Mark's phone buzzed. A text from Johnson. Triangulated Hale's current call. He's using a cell tower near Lambert. He's close. Maybe in the airport. Mark's eyes widened. Hale wasn't watching from afar. He was here. Rodriguez, Mark whispered. He's in this airport. Right now. She understood immediately. Started coordinating with security, pulling up camera feeds, organizing a search. But Mark had a different idea. Hale, he said calmly. I'm not choosing. Silence on the other end. What did you say? I'm not choosing. You want me to pick who lives and who dies? I won't do it. Then they all die. Maybe. Or maybe you're bluffing again. Maybe there are no bombs. Maybe this is just another test. You're willing to bet 300 lives on a maybe. I'm willing to bet that a man who spent weeks recruiting women, building devices, planning this entire operation, that man wouldn't waste 3 actual bombs on a lesson. You're too smart for that, too efficient. Another silence. You're wrong, Hale said finally. And you'll see how wrong in 14 minutes. But there was something in his voice, a hesitation, a crack. Rex, Mark said quietly. Find. The dog's ears perked up. Find Hale. Find the bad man. Rex's nose went down. He started moving through the terminal, weaving between chairs, tracking a scent. Mark followed, phone still pressed to his ear. What are you doing? Hale asked. Testing a theory. You should be choosing a location. Why? So you can watch me agonize over an impossible decision. So you can film me breaking down. No thanks. Rex was moving faster now, more certain. Heading toward the far end of Terminal C, toward a service corridor. Mark gestured to Rodriguez and a security team. They followed, weapons ready. Officer Henderson, you're making a mistake. Am I? Then prove it. Detonate one of the bombs right now. Show me they're real. That's not, I don't have to prove anything to you. Then I don't have to choose anything. Rex stopped at a service door, scratched at it. Mark tried the handle. Locked. Security used a master key. The door swung open. A maintenance hallway. Dim lights, concrete floor. And at the far end, sitting on a plastic crate with a laptop open beside him, was Victor Hale. He looked up as they entered. No panic, no attempt to run. He just smiled. Hello, Officer Henderson. I was wondering how long it would take you to find me. Mark's gun was out before he'd consciously decided to draw it. Hands up. Now. Hale raised his hand slowly. You're making a mistake. Even if you arrest me, those bombs are still armed. Still counting down. 12 minutes now. Show me. What? Show me the bombs. Prove they're real. Hale gestured to his laptop. It's all right there. Live feeds from all 3 locations. You can watch the timers count down if you'd like. Mark approached carefully, gun still trained on Hale. He looked at the laptop screen. 3 video feeds. A high school gym full of teenagers dancing. A hospital pediatric ward with children in beds. A nursing home common area with elderly residents watching television. And in each feed, clearly visible, was a pregnant woman sitting alone. Hands on her belly. Not moving. Mark's blood went cold. They're real. I told you, I always keep my promises. Rodriguez was on her phone, already coordinating response teams. Kansas City PD is en route to the high school. Dallas Fire Department is evacuating the hospital. Phoenix. 10 minutes. Hale interrupted. You think you can evacuate 3 buildings in 10 minutes? I chose these locations specifically because they're difficult to evacuate quickly. Children on ventilators. Elderly residents who can't walk. Teenagers who won't take a bomb threat seriously because they think it's a prank. Mark stared at the screens, at the three women, at the innocent people surrounding them. "Why?" he asked quietly. "Why do this?" "Because someone has to show the world how broken the system is, how desperate people have become, how easy it is to turn victims into weapons." Hale leaned forward. "Every woman wearing my devices has a story, Officer Henderson. Medical debt, sick children, impossible choices. And your system failed them all. I'm just making that failure visible. By killing innocent people. By making you choose who deserves to live. That's what your system does every day. It just doesn't make you watch." Mark's watch read 2:21 p.m. 9 minutes. He looked at Rex. The dog was sitting calmly watching Hale. And suddenly, Mark understood. "You're not going to detonate them." Hale raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me. You're not going to detonate them, because you need those women to live. They're your proof, your evidence. 3 women who agreed to wear bombs into populated areas. That's your story. That's your message." Mark holstered his weapon. "But if they die, if you murder 300 people, you stop being a revolutionary and start being a terrorist, and your message dies with them." Hale's smile faded slightly. "You wanted me to agonize over the choice, to break down, to choose one location over another. So you could film it, post it, show the world how impossible these decisions are." Mark stepped closer. "But I'm not playing. Arrest him." Security moved in. Hale didn't resist, but as they cuffed him, he looked at Mark with cold eyes. "You're wrong. You'll see how wrong in 7 minutes." Mark grabbed the laptop. "Rodriguez, which team is closest to their target?" "Phoenix, they're 2 minutes out." "Tell them to run." The next 7 minutes were the longest of Mark's life. He watched the laptop screens, watched the Phoenix team storm into the nursing home, weapons drawn, shouting orders. Watched them reach the pregnant woman, barely more than a girl really, and carefully, so carefully remove the device from her body. Kansas City was next. SWAT team burst into the high school gym. Teenagers scattered screaming, but the team found their target removed. The device cleared the building. Dallas was last. The hospital evacuation was chaos, nurses carrying babies, doctors pushing beds, families crying. But they got everyone out. They found the woman. They removed the device. Mark's watch read 2:29 p.m., 1 minute until Hale's deadline. All 3 devices sat in containment units, bomb squad technicians examining them carefully. "Henderson," Rodriguez said quietly. "They're all disarmed. No explosives found." Mark looked at Hale. "They were fake. All of them." Hale said nothing, but his silence was answer enough. "You son of a—" Mark stopped himself. "You terrorized 300 people. You traumatized 3 women. You wasted resources across 4 states. For what? To prove a point. To prove the system is broken," Hale said calmly. "And I did. Look at the chaos. Look at the fear. Look at how quickly everything falls apart when people realize how vulnerable they really are. All you proved is that you're willing to destroy lives to feed your ego. No. I proved that your system only works when it's not tested. Put pressure on it and it collapses. Make people choose between impossible options and they break." Hale leaned back in his chair, hands cuffed behind him. "You think you won today, Officer Henderson? You didn't. Because tomorrow there will be another desperate mother, another sick child, another impossible debt, and your system still won't have answers for them." Mark stared at him. "You're right about one thing. The system is broken. People are desperate. Families are suffering. But you didn't help any of them. You made it worse." "Did I tell that to the women whose medical bills I paid? Tell that to the children who got treatment because I provided the money their system wouldn't? You mean the children whose mothers you turned into criminals? The children who'll grow up knowing their mothers smuggled drugs to save them?" Mark shook his head. "That's not help. That's exploitation." Hale smiled. "We'll see what the public thinks. We'll see whose story resonates. Federal agents arrived to take Hale into custody. As they led him away, he looked back at Mark one last time. "This isn't over, Officer Henderson. I'm just the first. Others will come. Others who see what I see. And your dog won't be able to stop them all." Then he was gone. Mark stood in the empty service corridor, Rex at his side. His hands were shaking. His legs barely supported him. "Is it over?" Rodriguez asked quietly. "For now." The women, the 3 from today, in custody, being evaluated. They'll need lawyers' counseling, probably witness protection. Mark rubbed his face. Just like Sarah, just like Angela, just like all of them. We saved them. Did we? Or did we just delay their suffering? Rodriguez touched his arm. "Henderson, you stopped a terrorist network. You saved dozens of lives. You prevented." "I know what I prevented. But Hale's right about one thing. Tomorrow there will be another desperate mother, another sick child, and we still won't have answers." Mark looked at Rex. The dog was watching him with those deep, soulful eyes. "Come on, boy. Let's go home." They walked out of Lambert International together, the same terminal where this had all started, where Rex had first barked at Sarah Mitchell, where everything had changed. The sun was setting as they reached Mark's truck. He opened the passenger door and Rex jumped in. Mark sat in the driver's seat but didn't start the engine. His phone buzzed. A text from Johnson. "All women from Hale's network accounted for. 43 total. 41 alive, 2 dead. Sarah Mitchell asking if you'll visit her before they move her to permanent protection." Mark stared at the message. 41 alive. Because of Rex. Because of instinct and training and refusing to give up. But 2 dead. Lisa Park, the woman in Boston. 2 mothers who'd never go home. 2 children without mothers. That's what he'd carry with him. Not the 41 saved, the 2 lost. He looked at Rex. "You did good, boy. Better than good. You're a hero." Rex's tail wagged once. Mark started the engine. "Let's go visit Sarah. Then we go home. And tomorrow?" He paused. "Tomorrow, we do it all over again." Because that's what they did. That's who they were. A man and his dog fighting a war they couldn't win. Saving lives they couldn't save. Making impossible choices and living with the consequences. But still showing up. Still trying. Still refusing to give up. Because sometimes the hero doesn't wear a badge. Sometimes the hero walks on 4 paws and sees danger that no one else can see. And sometimes that's enough. Not to fix the system. Not to solve every problem. Not to save everyone. But enough to save someone. And in the end, that's all any hero can do. Mark drove away from the airport as the last light faded from the sky. Rex sat beside him, calm and steady, ready for whatever came next. Because there would be a next time. There always was. But for now, for this moment, they'd won. And that would have to be enough. Sarah Mitchell was waiting in the safe house when they arrived. She'd been crying. Her eyes were red, her face puffy. Tommy sat beside her coloring in a book, completely unaware of how close he'd come to losing his mother. "Officer Henderson," Sarah whispered. "Thank you. For everything." Mark crouched down so he was eye level with Tommy. "Hey there. Remember me?" Tommy looked up. "You're the man with the dog." "That's right. This is Rex. Want to pet him?" Tommy's face lit up. He reached out carefully, and Rex leaned into the touch, tail wagging. "He's soft," Tommy said. "He's also very brave. He saved your mom." Tommy looked at his mother, then back at Rex. "Really? Really?" Sarah pulled Tommy into a hug, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry for everything." Mark stood. "The marshals will take good care of you. New city, new names, new start." What about Hale? What if he's going to prison for a very long time. And if anyone from his network tries to hurt you, they'll have to go through every federal agency in this country. You're safe now. Am I? Sarah looked at him with haunted eyes. Will I ever really be safe? Mark didn't have an answer. He left Sarah with the marshals and walked back to his truck. Rex followed, tired but content. They drove in silence for a long time. Finally, Mark's phone rang. Rodriguez. Henderson thought you should know. The media's calling you a hero. You and Rex. They're saying you prevented the biggest terrorist attack since 9/11. It wasn't an attack. It was a bluff. Tell that to the 300 people who thought they were going to die. Tell that to the parents who watched SWAT teams evacuate their children. To them, it was real. Mark supposed that was true. There's something else, Rodriguez continued. We're getting reports of copycat threats. People claiming to have pregnant women carrying bombs in airports across the country. TSA is overwhelmed. Every pregnant woman flying today is being detained for secondary screening. Mark's hands tightened on the wheel. That's exactly what Hale wanted. Fear, chaos, suspicion. I know, but what can we do? We can't ignore the threats. No, we can't. Mark ended the call and kept driving. The world had changed in the last week. Airport security would never be the same. Pregnant women would face scrutiny and suspicion. And somewhere out there, someone else was watching Hale's story and getting ideas. But they'd also saved 41 lives. They'd stopped a network that had stretched across 11 states. They'd proven that even in impossible situations, with impossible choices, it was still possible to do the right thing. That had to count for something. Mark pulled into his driveway just after midnight. He let Rex out of the truck. The dog stretched, yawned, then trotted to the front door and waited. Inside Mark's house was quiet and dark. He'd been gone for 6 days. It felt like 6 years. He fed Rex, then collapsed on the couch. His phone buzzed one last time. A text from an unknown number. You won the battle, Officer Henderson. But the war has just begun. Others will rise. Others will fight. And your dog can't save everyone. A friend. Mark stared at the message for a long moment. Then he deleted it. He was too tired to think about tomorrow's threats. Too tired to worry about what came next. Right now, all that mattered was that 41 women were alive. 41 children still had their mothers. And one dog had saved them all. Mark looked at Rex, who had curled up on the rug, already asleep. Good boy, Mark whispered. Such a good boy. And in that moment, in that quiet house after the longest week of his life, Mark Henderson understood something fundamental about heroism. It wasn't about saving everyone. It wasn't about winning every battle. It wasn't about being perfect or fearless or always making the right choice. It was about showing up, about trying, about refusing to quit even when the odds were impossible and the choices were unbearable. It was about a dog who saw danger and barked to warn the people he loved. It was about a man who listened to that dog even when everyone else thought he was crazy. And it was about 41 women who got a second chance because someone refused to give up on them. That was enough. That would always be enough. Mark closed his eyes and finally let himself rest. Tomorrow would bring new threats, new challenges, new impossible choices. But tonight, they'd won. And that was everything.